It is strange, this screw has a metric size. This is a 2.5 millimeters screw, not imperial size. This is the sensor itself. I am not sure it is possible to take this thing apart. I will try to open it later. This is the schematic diagram of this little board here, with the sensor here. The sensor has 3 pairs of terminals. One pair is represented on the left here, the second one here, and the last one here. I have measured the DC resistance of this thing here and this one, and the resistance is the same for these two devices. So there is a DC resistance of 110 ohms exactly. So we can see on the schematic that we have first an amplifier with a kind of filtering, which is a little bit complex here. There is a coupling capacitor, so there is an AC voltage at the input here on terminal A and B of the sensor. So this is filtered and amplified. So this is fed to a second amplifier here. So there is still an AC coupling here, of course. And then we have a last amplifier. Actually, this is the voltage to current converter. The feedback is done to the shunt here. And there is also a polarization of the positive input of this op-amp relative to the ground here. So when there is no AC voltage here, there is a DC current, which depends on this voltage at this point and the value of this shunt resistor here. And this DC current flows into the second part of the sensor between terminal C and D. One terminal is connected to the positive power supply. So I guess that this thing is an oscillator. So probably that this part of the sensor and this one make a kind of transformer maybe, and the coupling between these two coils probably provides the measurement. But I'm not sure. I will connect this board to a power supply and I will make some measurement. The last pair of terminals is this one here, terminal E and F. So on the board, this terminal is referenced 0 volt, this one 10, so probably this is 10 volts voltage. And there is this resistor, which is very accurate, 0.1%, 10 kilo ohm. This is this one here. The measurement seems to be a DC voltage, which should appear between this terminal, 0 volt here, and D+. This is the voltage which is sensed between terminal E and F here. And there are also two adjustments. The whippers of these potentiometers are connected to the output terminals here. Okay, this time the sensor is connected correctly. So I'm going to turn on the power supply again. I don't know if you can hear, but there is a little noise. So this thing is oscillating. So let's measure the input voltage, terminal A here. Okay, we have effectively an oscillation. We can measure the frequency. Okay, so there is a frequency of 5 kHz. So let's have a look on the second part of the sensor, on terminal D. This is this one here. Okay, so you have a kind of square signal. I will connect the DMM also here between 0 volt here and D plus across terminal E and F of the sensor. There is a voltage of 0.6 volt. I will connect an air pressure to the sensor to see the evolution of the signals. I will use this tube. This should work normally. Perfect. I will solder also two terminals at the input of the sensor here and the output, terminal D also. It will be easier to sense the voltage. On the oscilloscope we see the output signal, and the signal which is present on terminal D of the sensor. So there is a DC current. The DC current is generated using this divider here and the resistor. On the schematic there is also an output here, which is a logic output, which is provided using this transistor, which is connected to VCC. This is the voltage of the EEPROM actually. First, in the beginning, I thought that this thing was a detection of a failure on this oscillator, but maybe this thing is an oscillator and the pressure is directly connected to the frequency of this oscillator. And this terminal here is maybe the output signal, which is a square signal, and the frequency depends maybe on the pressure. It is the case actually. And the sensor itself is maybe a vibrating wire sensor. So let's see if we find a square wave at this output. So I have to connect a 5 volt power supply also. And we need 2 or 3 minutes for that. Okay, so we can see that we have effectively a square wave on the collector of this transistor, which is in green here, the second channel. This sensor should be a vibrating wire sensor, but I know that the problem of this kind of sensor is the dependency of temperature. This is why this second measurement is probably a temperature sensor in order to measure the temperature inside the sensor and to provide the compensation in the firmware. So for the moment the pressure is 0. I will decrease the pressure in order to simulate a climb. You can see that the frequency decreases. At 0.5 bar, the frequency is 4.67 kHz. The frequency was 5 kHz at 0 pressure. I mean at ambient pressure. 1013 millibars approximately. So now I will change the direction of the pressure. I will increase the pressure in order to simulate an airspeed. You can see that the frequency increases in that direction. So it is effectively possible to measure a negative or a positive pressure, and probably inside this EEPROM we have some kind of table in order to have the linearity correction, because this kind of sensor is not linear. can be interesting to desolder this EEPROM and to read the content. And the frequency is probably measured by the timer we have seen on the CPU board, which was 8254. I will make some measurement, the output frequency versus the input pressure, and we will see if this thing is linear or not. This is the result of my measurement. So on the x-axis there is the input pressure from minus 0.8 to 0.8 bar, and on the y-axis there is the output frequency from 4.5 kHz up to 5.5 kHz. So the result is almost linear, but actually it is not. As you can see, it is a little bit concave. So there is a fitting curve which is superposed to this one. So the fitting function is written here. So this is the second order polynomial function. It fits perfectly. I assume that in the EEPROM we have different frequencies relative to different defined pressures, or maybe there is this kind of coefficient if the function has been modelized first. Otherwise, if there are different frequency points, the firmware extrapolates between these different points for all input pressures. So it should be interesting to read the contents of the EEPROM and try to decode the values inside. Maybe we should find this frequency here, the zero frequency, which is 5.0.22 for this sensor. So now it should be interesting to see what is inside this sensor. This is the sensor. So there are actually 4 coils and 2 terminals here. So this is probably the temperature sensor, but I'm not sure, but we will see. We can see that these 2 coils are connected in series. There is this little track here in the middle, 1 terminal here, and the second here, the return, and the 2 others also. So there are 2 excitation coils in series. I don't know which ones, and the others are the pickup coils. They are connected also in series. I think it will be difficult to open this thing, because as you can see, there are no screws or nothing. So I suppose that this thing, the top side here, is screwed inside the bottom side. Or maybe this thing is soldered also, so this will be difficult. Or maybe there is also something I don't know here. I don't know if this thing can be removed also. So by the way, we have on this side the maximum pressure. This is 130 kilopascals. So this is equivalent to 1.3 bar. There is a number, so this is probably a serial number. So I will try to open this thing. I have cut the rear of this sensor. We can see that there is a cylinder inside here. So I will cut one more time on this area here. Then we can see these coils maybe. And after I will cut another time here, maybe on this side here. I don't know, I will see. But this is difficult to open. I think this thing is soldered with a laser at the end of production. This is the second step. You can see that actually the coils are just soldered on the peripheral of this tube. So actually it can be possible to cut also here, so this can be removed. So I will try to cut all around here, above this line here, and after that it should be possible to remove the coils assembly. This is the coils assembly. You can see the two pairs of orthogonal coils. So one pair in one axis is supplied with the output of the amplifier. They are the excitation coils, but they are actually identical. And when there is a vibration, the voltage is sensed by the two other coils here in series. The resonant stuff is this tube here. I understand that the pressure will change the volume of this thing. There will be an expansion. There will be an expansion of this of the tube itself, and this will modify the resonant frequency effectively. So this is similar to a vibrating wire. So this is more a vibrating tube than a vibrating wire. So the tube itself vibrates actually. I thought at the beginning that there was a wire inside, but actually I was wrong. This is just a tube. And the modification of the volume of this tube generates the modification of the resonant frequency. So this is made with a very thin metal. Let's measure the resistance of this sensor. The resistance is 4.88 kilo ohms. Normally this should be resistive. No, it isn't. It is a semiconductor. The voltage is 0.6 volts. So this is maybe just a diode. So let's see if we can remove this this kind of compound here. Okay. Yes, okay, it is just a diode. As you can see, this was the temperature sensor. We try to read, there is a reference. It is not obvious. So the reference is more or less erased. Ah, okay, it is a GX. It is a diode with military specification. GX 4148. So it is a classic 4148. Maybe you can read the value. This is the Jan TX 4148. And this was used as a sensor. This was a complete teardown and test of this pressure sensor. It uses something which is closed to the vibrating wire, but actually this is more a vibrating tube. The mechanical resonant frequency of this tube depends on the pressure inside this tube. An amplifier connected between the pickup coils and the excitation coils permits to have an oscillation. The frequency of the oscillation is measured. A temperature compensation is provided using a diode. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.